This is Sisu. He is a colt who's exactly 3 months old. He was born on our ranch and was imprinted shortly after birth. Today we're going to introduce the halter to him for the very first time. I have done some previous work with him, which I will post in another video, basically letting him know that humans are part of his herd and we're not out to get him. It's actually pleasurable to be with us. Just lots of approach and retreat to gain his confidence, and a lot of pleasurable experiences like scratches and pets, and desensitizing to certain stimuli, and just being able to touch all over his body. And also we have done some work where he responds to pressure behind his butt, and basically I can kind of move him that way. Before I start with the halter, I'm just checking again for any oh no spots behind his butt, and is he willing to pick up his leg? Is he with me? Is he feeling comfortable? And if all those signs are yes, we proceed with the next part, which is the introduction to the halter itself. Want to slight pressure and kind of understand to move off. If I touch his butt, he would move forward. Good boy. And now we're going to just put a halter on him, just so that he can wear it, but we're not going to do anything with that halter to ask him to move or anything. He just needs to be used to wearing it, and that's a big halter. But what I will do is I would have a belt here serving as a neck rope, and I can do this one of two ways. That he's so chilled that I don't need to do a lot with him to ask him. But if I had to handle him by myself and he was wilder, I would be able to do that by putting my arm through here and holding his tail up, so that if he went to bolt, I can just with one hand stop him by pulling his tail up gently and rubbing him all over. And that would be used as my desensitization. But since he is already so good, I will use this lead rope around his butt, just like that. I'm gonna move him for the camera so you can see. So I have also taught him to respond to pressure and just connect that to his little feet. And move this way. Whoops. There you go. He's not very coordinated yet. And so when I ask him with a very slight pressure to move this way, he then would step with his legs forward, and I would release the pressure. So step number one is ask with the halter at an angle. Don't ask straight, because when he feels pressure up here on his pole or on his neck, it could trigger a reflex that makes them want to fall backwards, pull back, and it's a very bad habit to easily created at this age. And it's very hard to get rid of that habit to pull back and want to pull back and flip over even later when tied up. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna ask him to move at an angle to the side, because that's just easier for them to understand. And I'm applying pressure, and I'm gonna tell him with the butt rub what that means, and I'm gonna release and pet him. Okay, so okay, so again, I'm tipping his nose slightly. I'm asking him to move his feet, and he did it just now. Even if it's the slightest try, I didn't have to use the butt rope. As soon as he moved one hoof I released. Okay, and again I'm gonna ask him here. I'm gonna ask him, he's feeling it. I'm gonna ask him with the butt rope. I'm gonna ask him, I'm gonna ask him, I'm gonna ask him, there. And I release and I reward. Okay, so this repetition will teach him what things mean. So again, I'm asking this way, I'm pulling there. He's so smart, and it helps that he wants to follow his mom right now. But I'm gonna turn him. This is a good opportunity to turn him. There we go. And then release and pet him. Good. Now I'm gonna ask him to go away from mom. So I'm gonna put slight pressure on the halter here. I'm gonna invite him with my body language. I'm gonna ask him with the rope. See how he wants to pull backwards? Don't release that pressure until he moves forward. Good. And then reward him. Make him be sure he did the right thing. Good boy. Okay. I'm gonna ask him. Step to the side. There, he did it without a butt rope. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. So this is the beginning of the halter training. I'm gonna ask him. There you go. He did it. And what I'm also doing by asking him to move or stop or go sideways, forward, backwards, is I'm establishing myself as a leader in his herd. So I'm gaining his respect, I'm gaining his confidence in me, because they're funny creatures. They trust the ones that could control their movement. That's how lead mares establish themselves as leads in the herd, by moving the other horse's feet. So same for us humans here. All right, I'm gonna move him just a little bit this way for the camera so that hopefully it's seen better. So right here, if mom is not in the way, I will tip him across a little. I will ask him to move a little forward at 45-degree angle. There he goes, and I release immediately. Okay. Very good boy. Now we're going to try a little bit more straight forward. There. Perfect. Now notice that once he understands what this means for 45-degree angle, when I ask it 45 degrees, then slowly I'm going to start asking just straight forward, which is a lot harder for them because it triggers, again, that reflex to want to pull back. So I'm going to ask forward. I didn't even have to use the butt rope. See, when you break it down, horses understand quicker, and your whole training process becomes a lot quicker. Good boy. Okay. Good boy. I'm going to give him a little break. Yes, good boy. I never leave him with the halter unattended, but I'm just going to give him a little break right now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this long line. Yeah, sweetheart. All right, let's bring you back to the camera so people can see. Here we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, since he understands the butt rope, is I'm gonna clip this on his halter, and I'm going to bring this very long line around his butt. Not too loose, not too tight, and it has to be under his tail. Okay, and then I'm going to tie it we tie a knot And this is where my goats decided to knock down my camera. So here's take two. You always want to turn a foal with their backside towards you, and if you stay close, even if they go to kick, they just would move you out of the way instead of hurting you. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to put a butt rope around, but also attach that to the halter. You don't want it too tight. You want it to have enough slack in it, and you don't want it too loose, because if it's too loose it can slide down their legs and they can get tangled and break a leg, or definitely defeat the purpose of this lesson of leading and having confidence in this whole process with ropes and stuff. But again, you don't want it too tight, because there's got to be a release when the horse gives to the halter, because the whole point is that the horse learns from the release that they did the right thing. So right now he's licking and chewing, he's already thinking about it. I just put a regular old knot right here where the clip goes, okay? So now I'm gonna ask him to step forward, and if he lifts his head, the butt rope is going to communicate with him what he ought. Beautiful. So I release right away. So the butt rope already communicates exactly what I've been teaching him, that when I apply pressure from his backside, he comes forward, right? So right now, he needs to learn that I can be in the front and ask him with pressure on his head and his pole, and he needs to associate that with moving his feet in the direction that he feels the pressure, so that he gets a release. And the butt rope is basically reinforcing that, saying, hey, it's like training wheels. The butt rope is training wheels. So when I pull forward, he feels the pressure and then he steps forward. Good job. And I release right away. So again, I ask with the halter. Yes, and then he steps forward. Good boy. I asked with the halter. We had practiced a little bit more with the butt rope and the lead rope and the butt rope off camera because my phone overheated. But not much. But because he already knows how to respond to pressure when I push his butt forward, because he already knows that when I scratch him, that means stand there, be still and enjoy. It's so much easier to teach him things. So because of that, I am already going to ask him to come off the halter pressure itself. I'm going to be super careful that if he gets panicked and he wants to pull backwards and flip over, I will follow him with my arms, applying just enough pressure to not let him think that that's the right answer to pull back, but also having enough slack and following him around to where he doesn't flip over and he doesn't feel the need to continue pulling backwards, because that's a really nasty habit that's very hard to kick later on if it's developed at this early age. So let's see how this goes. I'm going to ask him to follow me, and again, as soon as I feel even a weight shift, now that was on his own, I didn't ask him. As soon as I feel even a weight shift, I would release. You see, right there? There, I release and I reward. Horses learn from the release of pressure. So the way to let a horse know that they gave you the right answer is to release that pressure. Look at how light he is. I love this. Okay, I'm gonna be bolder now. I'm gonna ask for a few steps. 1, 2, 3. Good boy. Now he's licking and chewing, which is amazing. It's evidence that he's processing this information. He's thinking about this. I'm gonna ask him to come this way with me. Good boy. Good boy. So now the test is going away from mama. See, I'm asking, he's pulling back. I followed him, and then as soon as he gave, I released. Very good boy. Very good boy. And in the beginning, this is very, very normal, and it is to be expected for them to pull back. It's a reflex that they have. They can't help it. Just like if somebody comes towards your eye, you're going to blink. Same thing. They cannot help this. This is a natural instinct for them to resist that pressure. There is a scientific name about it. I have it in the other videos I made. Okay. So now this is kind of cheating because he has a draw to me and then his mom was here. So that was an easy answer. So let's try a more difficult answer. I'm going to ask him to come now and follow me around this. Where he doesn't necessarily want to go. And I'm going to insist a little more. See how? Yes, good answer. Good boy. Good boy. He was thinking about pulling backwards. But then he remembered that the way to make his life much easier is to actually step forward. Okay? Very good. So, technically, this is the beginning of practicing to be tied up. And we're going to practice this off camera and lead him all over. And then on the next session, I will teach him to actually tie up to a pole or the fence. Okay, good boy. I'm going to quit him on this because he was very good. And this is just a concept lesson and you can't do much with foals. You can do, you know, a session every hour, but no longer than 15 minutes at a time. You did excellent. I love you, dear. Good boy. He's better than good. And it's because of the training that we've previously done when he was born. It's much easier now.